So there are a few events which need to be mentioned before the actual Battle of Plassey takes place. So the French have a stronghold nearby, probably their main important one, Chandernagor.
Yeah.
And that's a French stronghold. And Clive realises that if we're going to have some sort of big set-piece battle with Suraj, it's going to be best if I first, just strategically, it's going to be best if I first take out the French in their stronghold. So he goes up the river, at first he tells the French, he writes to the French stronghold, Chandernagor, saying, "I very sincerely declare to you that for this present time I have no intention to attack your settlement. However, if I should alter my mind, I shall not fail to inform you."
Are polite.
Yeah, and not really perfectly honest, because he did have the intention of attacking them. But they knew they were against Clive.
Yeah.
And they knew that if he really wanted to take the place, he almost certainly would be able to. Yeah. Robert Clive had a very, very close friend, Robert Orme, whose letters and correspondence and things survive. So quite often you get a quote from Orme, Robert Orme. He's supposed to have said, Clive wrote to Orme saying, at this exactly this point in his life, very flippantly, very offhandedly, was supposed to have said, "Oh, I'm going on to Patna or Delhi or somewhere." It's very, very offhand, isn't it? Very, very sort of flippant about these things. Eventually he does him and Watson do besiege Chandernagor, the French stronghold, and he's supposed to have sent them a missive saying, "The King of Great Britain, having declared war on France, I summon you to surrender."
Yep.
He opens up with 20 of his heavy guns on their walls and gets in. There's a bit of looting. He hangs a few of his own men to stop the looting.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Very Henry V.
Yeah. Or Wellington tried to, wasn't always successful actually, but tried to stop looting where possible.
It's really interesting how we're like that. Like it's, do you hear about other nations and armies doing that? No.
Oh, yeah.
Do you?
Yeah, like the French in the Peninsular War in Spain.
Yeah.
Every time they got into a big town, they absolutely turned it inside out.
No. I mean, no.
Sorry, I
trying to restrain looting.
Oh, right. Okay, right. Yeah, that's fairly rare.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
yeah.
that's what I was thinking.
It's sort of your prize. Go ahead, go for your life.
That was the reason you become a soldier. It's okay, we'll go win a battle and loot this city. And I'm just thinking, but the British are like, no, you're not allowed to loot, and we'll hang you if you loot. And literally you can go, to Henry V, to Clive, to Old Nosy. It's like this weird restriction on it. That's strange.
Yeah. It wasn't always the case. Like, for example, when the English got in Badajoz in Spain, he tried to restrain them, but it just wasn't possible.
Yeah.
So for 2 straight days, they go mad. But quite often he would start hanging people and they sort of settle down.
That's mad, though. I just can't think of another time or people who do that.
Yeah.
Like, normally the looting's the point.
Well, because they don't want to really bring a bad name on themselves. It's dishonourable, isn't it?
But everyone's doing it. Who's going to point the finger? Like, how dare you loot? It's, oh, shut up.
Yeah.
Anyway,
also, at that exact moment in the story, Suraj sends him a letter saying, "Oh, well, maybe let's be friends." And both sides know it's just posturing.
Yeah.
You're supposed to have said, "As long as I live, I shall esteem your enemies as enemies to me." Being say, like, I'll break my allegiance with the French now. How about that? But Clive and his men don't buy that.
Yeah.
This
is him buying time.
Yeah. Watson threatens him. Basically says, "If Your Highness the Nawab Suraj Dula breaks your oath to us, we will kindle such a flame in your country as all the waters in the river Ganges shall not be able to extinguish." Very hard line, isn't it? Some modern historians have said that is naked power there, really.
Well, it is,
yeah.
Just
being honest.
Yeah.
So here's where some backroom dealings come into it. There's an extremely, extremely rich merchant called Omichand, native to the region. And he was very, 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 fabulously rich. And his story one of Suraj is his main general, Mir Jafar. Is sort of his main general. They're not happy with Suraj because he's brutal and cruel, and in all sorts of ways. His own people, his own commanders and things aren't happy with him. So there are sort of plots against him on some level. And so Clive sort of knows this, realizes all of this, and he employs this Omichand to bribe Mir Jafar. So say, be on our side at the right moment in a big battle, and you can be the next Nawab, you can be the next ruler,
right?
Mir Jafar.
Yeah.
And Omichand wants 5% of all the treasures in exchange for doing all this. Because if it's discovered beforehand, they'll all be killed, obviously. So that's what goes down. And there is a fair bit of underhandedness because Clive and the East India Company have got no intention of giving this Omichand 5% for treachery, really. So they make up two secret treaties, one that says Omichand gets 5% and one that doesn't even mention it. And they get Mir Jafar, who's in on it, to sign both. And they show Omichand the one that says he's going to get loads of money, and they keep the plot going.
Very sneaky.
It's sneaky. Yeah. It's definitely sneaky. Yeah. There's no two ways about that. Okay. Just before it looks like a battle is going to take place, Suraj's giant host keeps moving towards Clive and his men, who are still sort of in and around the French stronghold area. Admiral Watson does sort of lose his nerve a tiny bit, or he sends a letter to Clive saying, "You cannot be too cautious. A false step now might be very fatal to our British affairs." Because it does look like this, it is the case that there's this giant army. It's not just 10,000 guys, it's maybe 50,000.
Yeah. Some
say 40, some say 50. I've seen 60,000.
Yeah.
It's sort
colossal.
Of looks, really sort of super colossal.
Yeah.
So, and even Clive himself doubts himself.
Well, he's only got a few hundred men.
Like, what, are we really going to do this sort of thing? So what he does, he gets together his officer corps, 9 officers he's got.
Yeah, the officer corps, how many is that? 9?
9 guys. And he calls them together for sort of a council of war and says, he asks them, there's a quote even, in our present situation, would it be prudent for us to attack the Nawab's vast army, or should we wait until we are joined by some extra military power? And 7 of the 9 said, no, wait, like this is crazy. This is crazy now.
Yeah. Like,
surely we've bitten off more than we can chew. But 2 of them say, no, let's go for it. Now, here's a moment where I think the great man of history thing comes into play.
I'm just picturing those. No, it's crazy. It's crazy. There's 2 at the end. It's like, let's just do it. Let's just, come on, why not? It's mad.
You want to live forever?
Yeah, exactly.
Come on.
Are
we men or mice? Are we Englishmen or no? Come on.
Yeah.
This is what we're here to do, sort of thing, to throw ourselves into the maw of
But I mean,
battle.
He's outnumbered more than 10 to 1.
Easily more than 10 to 1. I think 15 or 16 is totally fair.
Against a really well-armed force. Like 50 French guns. That's just...
Yeah,
they've got what, how many? 12 guns.
Yeah. Right.
And still 2 of them are like, well, I think we can do it.
We are Englishmen.
Yeah. Come on, we've got to hold the side up, haven't we, you know? But okay, yeah, fair enough.
There's a great man of history bit.
Yeah, this is. Yeah.
Because his officer corps have basically said, no,
that's mad.
That's crazy. And so Robert Orme later wrote that, quote, Clive retired alone into the adjoining grove where he remained an hour in deep meditation, and acting then entirely from himself, he gave orders that our army should cross the river and advance on the Nawab's army at Plassey.
I've taken your opinions into advisement, and I disagree.
Yeah.
We're marching on the giant force of natives and French.
So there's times like where Napoleon or Alexander, they sort of go off into their tent for a while and make a big decision, a giant history-changing decision, and it's entirely theirs. One man, one mind.
I just love that I've had to think about it and you're all wrong. We're going.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess we're going then.
Because he obviously was a little bit in two minds. Because usually he didn't, you never really ask his officers what they thought.
No, but when
he's
you're
in control and
when
he's
you're at
making
number
all the shots.
15 to 1, you got to be like, guys, is this a good idea? And they're all like, no, this is not a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're right. It's a great idea.
Yeah. Yeah. Get in, we're going to Plassey. Yeah.
But it is mad, though.
Yeah.
It's genuinely mad.
It is. Yeah. Well, in hindsight, I mean, it was the right call.
Well, sure, in hindsight.
But at the time...
Yeah, they don't know.
It takes some serious balls, really. I mean...
I think we're way beyond just being brave here.
But he was doing this sort of stuff when he was like 19.
Yeah.
When he first sort of broke out in around Madras and things and marched on Arcot.
But what was...
Suicidally.
But what was a bit of a lark with like 200 men has kind of turned into a bit of a serious situation. You know, it's like, okay, I've got 200 men, they got 500 men. Okay, we'll give it a crack. You know, this will be a bit of fun. You know, hopefully we'll get back okay. But now there's 50,000, you know, guys and an Indian king over there who's kind of angry with me and is probably going to flay me alive if he catches me. So, you know.
You can expect to not be treated well if you are sort of captured and things. But also remember, he's got this intrigue with Mir Jafar.
Well, let's hope that plays out.
Well, that has to work for him.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter how brave you are and how well drilled you are. If it's 16, 18, 20 to 1, if that gambit doesn't work out, you will lose. You'll be overrun. Okay. Yeah. So he's really throwing the dice. I mean, crazily, kind of crazily, really.
I just need a double six. That's all I need.
Yeah.
You know, just, come on.
Well, so on the 23rd of June, 1757, date all English schoolboys used to know.
Yeah.
Is outside a small village called Plassey. The two sides meet, and Clive lines up his army.
Yeah, no. Okay, this is a good way of explaining like the difference is the amount of space that each army is going to require to deploy.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Clive has got what 3,000 men.
Yeah, about that.
You know?
2,000 Indian sepoys,
like,
and
and
about 1,000.
If they're
Europeans.
2 ranks deep, you know, so that's 1,500 men. If each man takes up a meter, 2 meters, you can get an estimate, and then they've got 50,000. It's gonna be like just overwhelming, like just the sheer scale of what they're against. It's just gonna be mental.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, I was going to save it for a bit, but there's a great quote from another man that was there, Luke Grafton. He wrote, quote, "And what with the number of elephants, all covered with scarlet cloth and embroidery, their horsemen with their drawn swords glittering in the sun, their heavy cannon drawn by vast trains of oxen, their battle standards flying, well, they made a most formidable appearance."
Yeah, I bet they did. Yeah. I bet they did. I mean,
terrifying.
How much cavalry would they have had? Probably more than his entire army.
Oh yeah, like 5,000 cavalry or something.
Yeah. So they're outnumbered nearly 2 to 1 by just the cavalry alone. Just very fast. So, run in, slice you with the sword, and then out, and that's it.
Yeah. Robert Orme wrote that, quote, "The continual sound of drums, clarions, and cymbals, which always accompany the night watches of an Indian camp, convinced us that we were within a mile of the Nawab's army."
Yeah.
That was sort of the night before.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, Clive lines up. He's got sort of a tiny little rampart wall on one side. 2 sides of him are defended by a river.
Right.
One side there's like some sort of makeshift small rampart wall ditch thing going on.
Yeah.
And the other side to his north is a mango grove or a mangrove grove.
Yeah.
Which gets mentioned quite a lot in this battle because it becomes important. This grove of trees.
Peak defensive line.
Right. So it's better than nothing.
I guess it's better than nothing, but a grove of mangroves over there. Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
Thank God that's there.
Mir Jafar lines up on the right, our right.
Yeah.
And he controls maybe half, maybe more, maybe 2/3 of Suraj's army is under Mir Jafar. And just to cut to the chase on that bit. He basically, for the whole battle, doesn't do anything.
Oh, well, that's lucky.
Yeah, he does stick to his word that he's going to basically betray his own Nawab.
Right, okay.
But doing nothing is sort of, Clive kind of needed a bit more than that. He needed him not only to not do anything, but actually actively fight on his side. But he doesn't. He just does nothing, essentially, barely moves and just does nothing. He just watches, see what happens, see which way the winds are blowing, is what Mir Jafar does.
Right.
But nonetheless, even including that, Clive's still got a
20,000 men.
He's still got a fight on his hand.
Yeah.
He's charged by like 7,000 of their infantry and 5,000 horse, and the French cannons start blazing away.
Yeah.
Very accurately.
Yes.
Clive moves out of the mangroves and just starts getting peppered by the French artillery.
Yeah.
So he has to, they're outgunned, outranged.
Yeah.
So he moves them back. They just sort of hunker down. Just try and just hold on for dear life, really.
Yeah.
It's what happens in the first bit.
Well, that's the thing. Like, surely, why does the Nawab do anything other than just pummel them with the artillery? 50 artillery pieces, just pound them out of existence.
Yeah. Well. So Clive, a few times in his life, gets lucky.
Right.
And so what happens about noon? Because it's monsoon season, there's a massive downpour.
Oh, that is lucky.
A massive downpour.
Yeah.
And
Gunpowder gets wet.
well, the British had covers, tarpaulins or something for our guns, and the French had nothing.
Oh, this is reminding me very much of the Battle of Trafalgar. I say, well, the Spanish actually had put a load of cannonballs that were the wrong size for the cannons on their ships. And so, well, whose fault was this?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, so it wasn't fair. We didn't have the wrong sides. Well, that was up to you.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, you brought a tarpaulin to keep your guns dry. Well, we're in India in monsoon season.
Yeah.
You know, what do you want?
Like people said about this battle, well, it wasn't such a great victory because the other side, most of them didn't do anything. It's like, well, no, that's on you, though. That's all part of it.
Yeah.
It's like turning up to a boxing match, losing and saying, well, I wasn't in the right mind space. Yeah, that's part of the game.
I didn't get enough sleep last night.
That's all part of the game. That was on you to be ready for all that sort of thing so that it does still count.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the French guns got wet and their powder got wet.
Thank God.
And so most of them, some say all of them, could sort of stopped firing.
I bet Clive couldn't believe his luck.
Yeah, right. And so the storm passes quickly, as often happens. And so we are able to start opening up on them.
Right.
And so the tables are turned a bit. And they don't like it up them.
No,
again, when the Indians start getting bombarded, they're quite quick to sort of turn tail.
Oh, it's not fun when you're on the other side of it, is it?
Yeah, you only sing when you're winning.
Yeah.
And well, just to cut to the chase on that, we do pound the French artillery, sort of pound them to bits, really.
Good.
And by 3 p.m, Suraj's forces are in a rout, running away. Mir Jafar just stood there pretty much the whole day, just not doing anything. And the forces that did fight by about 3 p.m. Have turned tail.
So, I mean, you know, the thousands of infantry and cavalry that have charged the lines, I suppose they just beaten back, right?
Yeah.
Just disciplined fire.
Yeah.
And bayonets.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay, well, fair enough. If it works, it works.
Yeah. And many people say that lots of, even in Suraj's army, the ones that did fight, they weren't sort of, their hearts weren't in it because he was a cruel, despotic tyrant type ruler. They didn't love him. They weren't prepared to throw themselves into the mouth of death for him, particularly.
Right, okay.
Is said, you know. So they were prone to breaking and routing.
This was such a huge gamble on Clive's part.
Yeah.
Like, so many things could have just not happened.
Yeah.
Like, what a crazy...
It's like all the stars aligned for him.
Yeah, absolutely. What a crazy thing to do.
Yeah. Okay. So, so the Battle of Plassey, it's sort of one of those all-time greats as far as the English are concerned. You know, it's like an Agincourt type thing almost.
It is, yeah.
Because also history turns on that.
Yeah.
The repercussions of that are gigantic.
Well, that's the Nawab's power broken, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's,
it is. Yeah.
If you're going to lose a battle like that, then,
he's done for.
Yeah, you're over.
To watch the full video, please become a premium member at lotuseaters.com.